Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. The night before my wedding should have been one of the happiest moments of my life. My suit was pressed, the venue was decorated, and everything I had dreamed of for years was finally about to happen. I was going to marry the woman I loved, Sophia. But as I sat in my hotel room that evening, staring at the quiet city lights outside, my phone buzzed with a message that made my heart sink. It was from her brother, Ethan. He and I were never particularly close, but we were friendly enough. We had grabbed drinks a few times, talked about sports, and shared jokes at family dinners. So, seeing his name pop up on my phone the night before my wedding didn't feel strange, until I read what he wrote. You deserve better. Ask her about what she did 2 weeks ago. At first, I thought it was a prank or some kind of weird bachelor night joke. But Ethan wasn't that kind of guy. His words were short, direct, and heavy with meaning. I read the message again and again, my mind spinning, my chest tightened. What could he possibly mean? I sat there, staring at the screen, unsure if I should reply. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I couldn't find the right words. Part of me wanted to call him immediately and demand an explanation, while another part of me was terrified of what I might hear. I finally typed, "What are you talking about?" Seconds felt like hours before he responded. "I can't tell you everything, but you need to ask Sophia about the trip she said was for work." She wasn't alone. My blood ran cold. I remembered that trip. She told me she had to travel for a few days to finalize a project her company was handling. I had believed her without hesitation. I even sent her a text the night she left, wishing her luck and telling her how much I miss her already. She replied with a simple, "Love you too." Now Ethan's words began to echo in my head. She wasn't alone. I tried to breathe, but it felt like my lungs were filled with smoke. What was he trying to tell me? Was Sophia hiding something from me? And if she was, why would her own brother send me this warning, especially on the eve of our wedding? I called Ethan. He picked up after the third ring. His voice was low and uneasy. "Ethan, what's going on? What do you mean I deserve better?" There was silence for a few seconds before he spoke. "Look, man, I don't want to ruin your wedding, but I can't stand by and watch you get hurt. I know what she did. She wasn't on a work trip. She was with someone else." The world around me stopped. With someone else? I repeated, my voice cracking. "You mean?" "Yes," he said. "I saw her. I didn't believe it at first, but it's true. She was with her ex. They were together for those 3 days." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. My mind flashed through every moment Sophia and I had shared. The long walks, the laughter, the promises of forever. How could she betray me like that? And why did she act so normal when she came back? "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Because I couldn't hold it in any more," he said. "I told her she needed to come clean, but she didn't. She told me to stay out of it, that it was none of my business. But I can't let you walk into this blind. You're a good guy, and you don't deserve to start your marriage on lies." I sat there in silence, my heart pounding. A wave of anger, disbelief, and sadness hit me all at once. "Do you have proof?" I finally managed to ask. "I saw them together," he said quietly, "at a hotel near the coast. They were holding hands." I didn't want to believe it either, but I know what I saw. After that, we didn't say much. Ethan apologized and told me he was sorry for dropping this bomb so late. He said he'd understand if I didn't believe him. But deep down, I could tell he wasn't lying. There was something sincere in his voice, something that came from guilt, not malice. When I hung up, I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. My hands trembled as I stared at the ring box on the nightstand. The gold band that once symbolized love and commitment now felt like a mockery. I sat there for what felt like hours, lost in a fog of confusion and pain. My mind kept racing back to the details of her work trip. I remembered how she avoided video calls, saying she was tired or busy. I remembered her distant tone when we talked. I'd assumed she was just stressed, but maybe she had been hiding something far worse. Eventually, I decided I needed to hear it from her. I called Sophia. She didn't answer. I called again. Nothing. Then I texted her. We need to talk. It's urgent. A few minutes later, she replied, Babe, it's late. Can it wait until tomorrow? We're getting married in less than 12 hours. My fingers shook as I typed, No, it can't wait. I need to know about your work trip 2 weeks ago. Who were you with? It took her a while to respond. When she finally did, her tone had completely changed. Why are you asking me that? Just answer me. I wrote, Were you with your ex? There was no reply for nearly 20 minutes. My heart pounded the entire time. I stared at the phone like my life depended on it. Finally, her message came through. Who told you that? That was all she said. Not no, not, of course not, but who told you that? And that was enough of an answer. I felt something inside me shatter. The silence between us grew heavier with every passing second. I didn't reply. I couldn't. The truth was sitting right there in front of me, and it burned like fire. 15 minutes later, she called me. I didn't want to answer, but I did. Daniel, she said, her voice trembling. Please, let me explain. Explain what, Sophia? I asked bitterly. That you lied to me? That you went back to your ex and thought I'd never find out? It wasn't like that, she cried. It just happened. I didn't plan for it. We met accidentally while I was away. It was one night, Daniel, I swear. I regretted at the moment it happened. One night. I repeated, my voice breaking. And you thought that made it okay? You came home, smiled in my face, and kept planning a wedding with me? Tears filled my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I didn't want to lose you, she said softly. I thought if I just forgot about it, we could move on. Move on. The words stung more than anything else. To her, it was just a mistake, a moment of weakness she wanted to bury. But to me, it destroyed everything we had built. Do you even love me, Sophia? I asked, or was this all just convenient for you? I do love you, she said quickly. It was a stupid, horrible mistake. Please, don't throw everything away because of one night. I need you. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to scream, to cry, to walk away, but part of me still loved her. That's what made it hurt so much. Does your brother know? I asked quietly. Her silence told me everything. Of course he does, I said. He's the one who told me. She gasped. He what? Why would he? Because he actually cares about me, I interrupted. He didn't want me to walk into a marriage built on lies. There was nothing but silence on the other end. Then she whispered, Please, Daniel, can we just talk in person? I'll explain everything. Please. But I couldn't. I told her I needed time. I ended the call and turned my phone off. That night, I sat alone in that hotel room, staring at the wedding suit hanging by the door. It suddenly felt like a costume for a play I could no longer perform in. The dreams I had of a happy life with her, the plans we made, all of it had crumbled in an instant. I didn't sleep. I just sat there, thinking about the years I had spent loving someone who could betray me so easily. Every laugh, every promise, every tender moment felt tainted now. When morning came, the sun rose like it always did, but to me, the world felt darker. My phone buzzed again. It was her mother, asking where I was and if I was getting ready. I couldn't answer. I didn't know what to say. I finally texted back, There's not going to be a wedding. And that was how my wedding morning began, not with joy, but with heartbreak. Yet, deep down, I knew this wasn't the end of the story. There was still so much left to face. Her family, the guests, the truth. And part of me couldn't help but wonder if I made the right choice, or if walking away would haunt me forever. When I sent that message, There's not going to be a wedding, I didn't expect a storm that would follow. Within minutes, my phone began vibrating nonstop. Calls from Sophia, her mother, her best friend, even my own parents. I didn't answer a single one. I just sat there on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the floor, the sound of my phone echoing the silence like guilt that refused to go away. Then came a knock on the door. I hesitated, half hoping it was room service, so I could pretend nothing had happened. But when I opened the door, I found Sophia standing there, her hair still tied in curlers from her bridal prep, her makeup half done, eyes red from crying. "Daniel," she said in a trembling voice, "please don't do this. Can I come in?" For a long moment, I didn't move. Part of me wanted to shut the door right there, but another part, stupidly, still wanted to hear her out. I stepped aside, and she walked in quietly, clutching the edge of her dress like a child holding on to comfort. She sat on the couch, and I stayed near the window, arms folded, staring at the city below. "You shouldn't be here," I said flatly. "I couldn't just sit and wait," she said. "I had to talk to you. Please, just give me a chance to explain." I turned toward her slowly. "Explain what?" "You admitted it last night. You cheated, Sophia. You lied. You planned an entire wedding knowing what you did. What's left to explain?" Tears filled her eyes. "I made a mistake. I'm not going to deny that. But I love you. I panicked, Daniel. I didn't want to lose you over one moment of stupidity." "One moment of stupidity?" I repeated. "You call that a moment? You planned a trip. You met him. You lied to me every single day after. That's not a moment, it's a choice." She wiped her face with shaking hands. "He reached out to me, okay? He said he wanted to apologize for how things ended between us. I just wanted closure. I didn't plan for anything to happen." I laughed bitterly. "Closure? Is that what you call sleeping with your ex while planning our wedding?" Her head dropped and her shoulders shook. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But please, Daniel, don't throw everything away. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything." Her words might have sounded sincere to anyone else, but to me, they felt hollow. I had replayed our entire relationship in my mind all night. Every moment. Every doubt I'd ignored. Every red flag I brushed aside, because I loved her too much to believe she'd ever hurt me. And yet, here we were. I walked toward her, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to stay calm. "Do you have any idea how it feels to know that the person I was going to marry couldn't even stay loyal long enough to make it to the altar?" She looked up at me, eyes wide with desperation. "I do know, because I hate myself for it every second. I've been living with that guilt since it happened. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't. I thought I'd ruin everything. I thought maybe we could just move on and be happy." "Move on," I whispered. From betrayal? Her lips parted, but no words came out. I could see it in her eyes. She didn't know how to fix this because something simply couldn't be fixed. The silence between us stretched painfully long until she finally said, "Ethan had no right to tell you. This wasn't a secret to share." I clenched my jaw. He did the right thing. He saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. She flinched, like my words were a physical blow. "So that's it? You're just going to walk away? What else can I do?" I asked. "Trust you again? Pretend nothing happened? Stand up in front of everyone today and promise to love and cherish someone who already broke that promise before we even said our vows?" She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Daniel, please." "Don't," I said quietly. "You made your choice, and now I'm making mine." Her tears flowed freely now. "I can't lose you." "You already did," I whispered. I picked up my suit from the chair, still wrapped in its cover, and laid it on the bed. I couldn't even look at it without feeling sick. "You should go, Sophia. You've got people waiting for you. They deserve to know the truth." She stood there for a moment, broken and pale. Then, without another word, she turned and walked out, the soft click of the door echoing like the closing of a chapter. When she left, I felt both relief and unbearable emptiness. I sank into the chair and buried my face in my hands. I wanted to believe that I'd done the right thing, but the weight of it crushed me. The love I had for her didn't just vanish. It lingered like a wound that wouldn't stop bleeding. A few hours later, my parents came to my room. My mother's eyes were red, and my father looked like he didn't know whether to hug me or yell. "Son, what happened?" he asked softly. I told them everything. The message from Ethan, the phone call, Sophia's confession. My mother covered her mouth, shaking her head in disbelief. My father just sighed deeply, sitting beside me. "You did the right thing," he said after a long silence. "It's better to find out now than after you're married." It hurts, but you save yourself a lifetime of pain. I nodded, though the words didn't make the ache go away. Nothing could. As the day went on, the news spread. Guests were confused, family members whispered, and I turned off my phone to escape it all. Sophia's parents called me, begging for me to reconsider, claiming it was just a mistake. Her mother even came to my hotel room, crying and pleading for forgiveness on Sophia's behalf. "She loves you, Daniel," she said. "She knows she messed up, but she's willing to make it right." "With all due respect," I said, keeping my voice calm, "love without trust means nothing. If she truly loved me, she wouldn't have done what she did." Her mother lowered her head. "I understand," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I just wish it hadn't come to this." After she left, I packed my things and checked out. The sight of the wedding venue across the street made my heart twist. I could see the flowers being taken down, the chairs still set up, the sunlight glinting off what should have been our altar. I sat in my car for a long time before starting the engine. It was hard to leave behind something I had spent so long building. Harder still to accept that the person I wanted to share my life with was capable of breaking it apart so easily. But I knew staying would only destroy me more. I drove to my brother's house, where I stayed for a few days. Ethan reached out again, apologizing for the chaos his message caused. But I told him he had nothing to apologize for. "You did what was right," I said. "You told me the truth when no one else would." "I just wish I'd done it sooner," he admitted. "Maybe it would have saved you some pain." "Pain was inevitable," I said quietly. "But at least now I know the truth." Over the next few weeks, I tried to rebuild myself piece by piece. The sleepless nights, the endless what-ifs, the moments when I almost called her, they all came and went like waves. I found myself scrolling through old photos of us, wondering where things went wrong. She sent me a few messages, long ones full of apologies and promises. I never replied. I knew that if I did, I might fall back into the same trap of believing in someone who had already proven they couldn't be trusted. One evening, about a month later, I ran into Ethan at a cafe. He looked exhausted, and I could tell the situation had taken a toll on him too. "She's not doing well," he said quietly. "She's been blaming herself nonstop." "She should," I said, then sighed. "But I don't hate her, Ethan. I just can't be with her." He nodded. "I get that. For what it's worth, I respect you even more now. Most people would have gone through with it just to avoid the scandal." I smiled faintly. "Yeah, but I'd rather face temporary shame than a lifetime of lies." After he left, I sat there staring out the window, watching people walk by, laughing, holding hands. It hurt, but it also reminded me that someday I'd be able to love again. This time, with someone who valued honesty as much as love itself. Months passed. The wedding that never happened became old news. People stopped whispering, and life slowly found its rhythm again. I focused on work, took up running, and spent more time with friends who helped me laugh again. One morning, I received a small envelope in the mail. It was from Sophia. Inside was a letter. In it, she wrote, "Daniel, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that losing you was the hardest thing I've ever faced. You were kind, patient, and real, and I destroyed that. I wish I could go back and undo everything, but I can't. All I can do is hope that one day you find someone who loves you the way you deserve. I'll always be sorry. Sophia." I folded the letter carefully and set it aside. There was no anger left in me, just acceptance. Some endings, no matter how painful, are necessary for new beginnings. That night, as I sat on my balcony watching the stars, I realized something. The message Ethan sent me that night didn't ruin my life. It saved it. It forced me to see the truth before it was too late. And though my heart still carried scars, I knew one day those scars would remind me not of betrayal, but of strength. Because sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about knowing when to let go.